Good morning. Thank you very much for attending this seminar on quality in digital higher education, the final session of this first series of seminars aimed at promoting digitalization in the Mediterranean. This session will be conducted by my colleague Maite Fernández-Ferrer and myself. We are both faculty members in the Faculty of Psychology and Education Sciences at the UOC, and specifically, Maite and myself are very proud of being professors in the master's program in quality assurance in higher education, which has received excellence accreditation from the Spanish system. Okay, so I will start the presentation, the first part of the presentation, and then my colleague Maite will go on with the second part, and I will finish the session with the final part of it. Regarding the format of this webinar, it will follow a structure similar to the previous ones, and the topics we will cover, you will see on the screen. Specifically, we will address the following. We will begin by reflecting the concept of quality, a complex but essential topic, as it influences how quality evaluation is approached. Next, we will move on to quality assurance, reviewing the main concepts to establish a shared conceptual foundation, and we will examine quality assurance systems from a macro, a meso, and a micro perspectives. After that, we will provide an overview of the main international frameworks for digital learning quality assurance. Then, we will highlight some key international organizations and networks for quality assurance. And as transformation processes bring both opportunities and challenges, we will aim to identify the most significant ones in the context of digital transformation. Finally, we'll try to wrap up the main conclusion from this seminar. Okay, so let's move to the next. And first, I would like to talk about something that's both central and yet incredibly challenging to define. Quality, and more specifically, the concept of quality in education. In nearly every profession, including education, quality is both an aspiration and a benchmark. We all have a sense of what it means, but when we ask to define it, we often struggle. To frame the discussion, let's consider a quote from Robert Piesing, and I will read just a piece of it, that says, quality, you know what it is, yet you don't know what it is. Some things are better than others, but when you try to say what the quality is, it all goes poof. But for all practical purposes, it really does exist. What else are the grades based on? What the hell is quality? What it is? This paradox encapsulates the challenge we face. Quality is fundamental to our work, but it's frustratingly elusive as a concept. Let's explore some key reasons why defining quality in education is so complex. Quality is not a single or clear-cut concept. Rather, it's complex and often ambiguous. It can refer to our products' durability, a service reliability, or even the outcomes of an educational program. In education, quality encompasses a wide range of factors, from students' achievement and teacher effectiveness to institutional infrastructure and learning environments, among others. Each factor is interdependent, adding layers to the definition of what quality actually is. In practice, this means that when we try to evaluate the quality of an educational institution or program or whatever, we often find ourselves balancing diverse elements that don't always align perfectly. For instance, a school with high academic performance might lack inclusivity or mental health support or whatever, raising questions about whether it truly embodies educational quality. Quality is also a multidimensional concept, which adds to its complexity. Different stakeholders, students, teachers, administrators, parents, policymakers, whatever, each of them have their own perspectives of what quality means. For a teacher, for instance, quality might mean the availability of resources to support instruction, whereas for students, perhaps it could mean engaging learning experience and fair assessment. Quality is not a fixed attribute. It's relative and highly context dependent, and this is very important in our seminars, in our context of these seminars. What counts as quality is one context might not hold the same value in another. In education, the quality of learning can depend heavily on the cultural context of the institution and or of the region. Quality is often seen through a subjective lens. This is one of the most challenging aspects of defining quality. Quality in education can be perceived differently by each individual based on personal values, experiences, and expectations. For example, a student may perceive high-quality education as one that supports creativity, critical thinking, while another may see it as one that prepares them directly for the workforce. In summary, quality in education is a complex, multidimensional, relative, and subjective concept. Quality may be elusive, but its pursuit remains central to the mission of education. Assuming everything we have said, we will review some of the most deeply rooted conceptions of quality in higher education. In higher education, different frameworks interpret quality in various ways, depending on the goals and values each university prioritizes. We will review 5 main approaches: quality as excellence, consistency, fitness for purpose, value for money, and as transformation. The first conception is quality as excellence. In this view, quality is synonymous with exceptional standards and outstanding performance. Universities that adopt these perspectives strive to be leaders in their field, often setting benchmarks for others to follow. This approach is commonly associated with prestigious universities recognized for their rigorous academic programs and distinguished faculty. Here, the focus is on academic achievements, high-impact research, and international recognition. For example, think of elite universities that consistently appear at the top of global rankings. Their reputation for excellence attracts students and sets standards for others to emulate. The second conception is quality as consistency. From this perspective, quality is about reliability and uniformity across all processes and outcomes. Its conceptions emphasizes the importance of maintaining high standards throughout the institution, ensuring that educational services are dependable and meet established criteria without significant variation. Institutions that prioritize consistency focus on quality control, guaranteeing that all students have a uniform educational experience, regardless of factors like campus location or class cohort, among others. For example, consider a university that offers the same high-quality teaching and resources across all its campuses, ensuring that each student receives a consistent education in terms of rigor and support. The third approach is quality as fitness for purpose. Here, quality is defined by how well an institution meets its state's goals and mission. These perspectives emphasize alignment between the institution's outcomes and its intended purpose. For example, think of a technical university that measures its quality by the employability of its graduates in specialized industries, reflecting how well it fulfills its mission. The fourth perspective is quality as value for money, where quality is evaluated in terms of cost effectiveness, and efficiency. This approach considers whether the resources invested in education, such as tuition fees and government funding, are optimally used to achieve desired outcomes. Universities focus on value for money, strive to provide high-quality education at a reasonable cost, ensuring that students and stakeholders in general receive a worldwide return on their investment. For example, public or private institutions seek to justify the tuition fees they charge by ensuring students receive valuable student education for the cost. Finally, we have quality as transformation, a perspective that emphasizes the impact of education on students and society. This approach focuses on personal and intellectual growth to transform students' lives by developing their knowledge, skills, and critical thinking abilities, among other things. These institutions that adopt this view prioritize the holistic development of students, preparing them to make meaningful contributions to society. For example, universities that incorporate formative experience and curricula designed to foster critical thinking, social awareness, and global citizenship, aiming to shape not just skilled professionals, but also individuals who can positively impact their communities. To conclude, I would like to invite all of you to reflect on which of these conceptions most aligns with you or with your own institutions, universities, or educational context. It's also worth noting that in practice, many universities adopt a combination of these approaches to meet the diverse expectations of students, faculty, and society. And now I give the floor to my colleague, Maite, that will go on with the presentation. Maite, when you want.
Thank you very much, Nati, for your introduction. So after that, how can we ensure the quality of education? We will start by looking at the higher education system from a macro level perspective to understand its territorial reach and the key stakeholders involved. And then we will focus on the meso level, considering the impact on institutions and their leadership. And finally, we will zoom in on the micro level perspective, looking at how this affects programs, courses, teachers, and of course, students. So what do we need to know before starting? First, I would like to talk about the structure of quality frameworks. So these frameworks are organized around dimensions, standards, and indicators. This help us see the main area of focus, the goals to reach, and how we can evaluate or ensure the progress. So, for example, dimensions are the broad areas that we focus on to ensure quality. You can think of them as categories like student support, teaching quality, or institutional resources. Then we have within each dimension the standards, which are like the specific goals we aim to achieve. For example, if we talk about the standard in teaching quality, this might be that instructors use up-to-date methods to engage students. And to see if we are meeting these standards, we use indicators. No, indicators are like the concrete elements we can measure or observe, such as student feedback scores or completion rates, among others. And finally, we gather evidence to show that we are meeting each standard. Evidence could include like survey results, reports, or even example of some student works. So while there are common types of evidence used, it's true that each institution can choose what is best or what best shows its alignment with these standards. And among that, it's important to note that, as we were saying at the beginning, this framework can guide us on different levels, whether at the macro level, looking at the institution as a whole, or the micro level, focusing on specific courses. So in both cases, they help ensure we are meeting the quality benchmarks that improve educational outcomes. If we talk about macro level perspective, we have to remember, as we have been saying in this kind of sessions, that the main goal of quality assurance in higher education is to make sure that institutions deliver high quality education and meet like commonly accepted standards. So international frameworks for quality assurance help standardize and ensure the quality of academic programs and institutions across countries. So they provide guidelines and benchmarks that allow us to assess whether institutions meet expected standards in areas like we were saying before, teaching, research, and student support, for example. So most countries rely on international quality frameworks as a core reference in their own quality regulation. And this approach has clear benefits, like, for example, making easier for students and teachers to move between countries. No, this is an important factor for quality in both education and academic collaboration. We have to take into account that with the fast growth of cross-border education, quality in higher education is increasingly seen as a shared responsibility, one that extends beyond national borders and even regional higher educational areas. So these frameworks help ensure that students receive a high quality education no matter where they study, while supporting institutions in continually improving their programs. In this slide, you can find a map that shows some examples. So for instance, within the European higher education area, member countries have agreed to follow the European standards and guidelines, or ESG, which were developed by the European Network for Quality Assurance, that is ENQA. Because ENQA members created these guidelines together, there is like a strong alignment on them. However, it's true that each country tailors the ESG to fit its specific context, no? Taking into account factors like politics, economics, or national priorities. And as a result, we could say that each country has its own set of regulations, but they are outlined in guidelines and systems for monitoring and control. In Latin America, for example, quality assurance is usually managed at a national level. For example, in Brazil, there is the National Institute of Educational Studies and Research that oversees the quality of higher education. And it happens similarly in Asia, where countries like Japan or India have their own quality assurance agencies. Japan has the National Institution for Academic Degrees and Quality Enhancements of Higher Education, while India has the National Board of Accreditation. So both of which play key roles in ensuring educational standards. So in some higher education areas, we can say that countries aren't required to follow common guidelines, but doing so often benefits institutions and provides strong motivation for adopting these standards. And finally, there are also global efforts to harmonize quality assurance practices. No, we have organizations like UNESCO and the OECD that are working on guidelines to help countries align their quality assurance processes. This alignment helps with the international recognition of students' qualifications, for example. And now let's talk about meso-level perspective. So when universities set up their own criteria to guarantee quality in their educational services, they need to follow their country regulation. As we have mentioned, some countries have mandatory quality systems in place, but others don't. And sometimes this obligation only applies to certain programs like undergraduate degrees, but not to the other programs like master programs. So now when there's no national requirement to accredit program quality, or even when institution was to strengthen their reputation, they often turn to respected accreditation agencies in other countries. And this approach serves to two main purposes. First of all, they do that because they can fill these gaps in the state accreditation. So as we were saying, in some countries, there may not be a strong national accreditation system in place. So institutions look to international frameworks and accreditations like ENCA in Europe to show they meet high standards. No? This way they can compensate for any gaps in national systems. Or other reason is to gain international recognition. So many institutions want their degrees to be recognized outside their home country. And by following international respected frameworks, they can earn prestigious accreditations that are recognized worldwide. And this helps ensure that their qualifications are accepted by employers and by other universities abroad. And it makes them more attractive to international students. And then I would like to talk about this meso-level perspective. No, what are the main goals of university accreditation? No, if we have to talk about that, I would like to ask why the universities go through these accreditation processes. So we will break it down into some key objectives. First, accreditation helps ensure the quality of programs. So universities aim to meet the skill levels and criteria set by their country's regulations, which assures students, employers, and other stakeholders that the program meets national standards. Accreditation also provides reliable information. So people using the university system, which are students, parents, employers, can make informed decisions based on trusted data. It also strengthens the internal processes. So by following accreditation standards, universities continuously improve the quality of their programs and services. But in today's world, where change is constant, and specifically with digital transformation, growing competition, globalization, there are also other important goals that come into play. So one goal is to integrate continuous improvement, where the idea of digital is included in the institution's strategy. It's about not just meeting quality standards, but continuously adapting and enhancing them with a digital mindset. Another goal is to improve how the university is seen from the outside. So accreditation strengthens the institution position in the academic world and support its international growth. And finally, accreditation allows university to showcase their unique strengths. It's like a way to highlight what sets them apart and share that with the broader academic community and the world. And then we will talk about this micro-level perspective. When we talk about the micro-level perspective, we are really focusing on ensuring quality within individual courses or subjects. This approach is crucial because it ensures that quality standards aren't just applied at the program or institutional level, but they are also reached down into the classroom. So by looking closely at the quality of individual courses, institutions can better meet the specific needs and goals of each one of the courses, which helps improve the overall learning experience for students. So in session 2.4 in December, we will dive deeper into the quality of online learning courses, specifically and especially at both the meso and the micro levels. And we will discuss why it's so important to foster a culture of quality within our educational institutions, because this culture is vital to ensuring that our quality assurance frameworks and processes truly work effectively. And then I would like to talk about the international frameworks for digital learning quality assurance. So let's talk about why these international frameworks that we were presenting before are so important. As we introduced, they help ensure that institutions not only comply with local regulations, but also uphold global standards of excellence in higher education. The principles that guide these standards are really fundamental. They shape not just the content of the frameworks, but also the role play in the overall process of ensuring quality. So we can say it's about creating a system that works well locally, while also aligning with other best practices from around the world. And here, we have specific models or frameworks for digital learning quality assurance. No, I would like to focus, or let's focus on two key examples of quality frameworks in online education. First, we have the 5 pillars of quality online education that was developed by the Online Learning Consortium. This framework breaks down quality into 5 pillars that you can see in the slide. We have learning effectiveness, scale, access, student satisfaction, and faculty satisfaction. Each pillar plays a critical role in defining what quality means in online education. For instance, learning effectiveness looks at how well students are achieving their learning objectives or learning outcomes. And student satisfaction, for example, focuses on how engaged and fulfilled learners feel in the course or during the courses. So this holistic approach within these 5 elements help institutions make sure they are giving a great educational experiences to everyone or to the students. And this model is highlighted in this presentation because it was one of the first frameworks to set a clear path for ensuring e-learning. It's a pioneering approach because it established, like I said, an essential guidelines that have influenced the development and the assessment of online education on a global scale. So by recognizing and addressing the unique challenges of e-learning, these 5 pillars played a crucial role in shaping quality standards and best practices that many institutions nowadays follow. So in conclusions, we could say that its global significance lies in its foundational contribution to ensuring that e-learning programs are effective, are accessible, and they are aligned with educational goals. And now I would like to talk, or let's talk about the e-excellence model. This one was created by the European Association of Distance Teaching University, which is IETO. And this framework is all about benchmarking the quality of online education. We highlight the e-excellence model because the WOC University was actively involved in its development, especially in the early stages. So this initiative demonstrates the commitment of institutions like our university to improve the quality of online education. So by contributing to this project, the WOC has helped shape quality standards that benefit the entire academic community across Europe. So together, these frameworks illustrate how various organizations are working to enhance quality in online learning, ensuring that students receive a valuable and effective educational experience. And now we can talk about more general models, for higher education quality. In this part, we are going to explore some general frameworks for quality assurance that aren't specifically designed for e-learning like the other ones, but still include criteria that are very relevant for digital learning. So these frameworks give us a broader context for understanding quality assurance while recognizing the unique aspects of online education. So by looking at these models, we can gain insights into how they adapt to the ever-changing landscape of digital learning and help ensure quality across various educational formats. Let's start with ENCA, which is in the left part of the slide. That is the European Association for Quality Assurance in Higher Education. While ENCA, it's true that it doesn't have a specific standard just for e-learning, Its broader European standards and guidelines for quality assurance in higher education do apply to e-learning programs. And some key aspects of these guidelines include student-centered learning, which means ensuring that e-learning is designed to meet the needs and expectations of students, allowing them the flexibility they need for their personal growth and process of learning. It also contemplates the learning outcomes. It's important to define clear and measurable outcomes for e-learning programs so everyone knows what they are aiming for. It also talks about assessment and feedback, establishing transparent and fair methods for evaluating or assessing student performance in an online setting, which is crucial for maintaining trust and integrity. And of course, it's crucial for student learning as well. And it also talks about quality of teaching and resources. It's important to know that we also need to monitor the effectiveness of online teaching methods and ensure that students and staff have access to sufficient resources, materials, etc. So these standards already incorporate aspects of online education, as you have seen, taking into account the use of technology, whether the model is traditional, hybrid, or fully online. And next, we have the INCAGE. It's the International Network for Quality Assurance Agencies in Higher Education. INCAGE promotes quality assurance practices globally. And as well, while it doesn't provide specific guidelines solely for e-learning, it guidelines, which is called good practice, offers like a flexible framework that can be adapted to e-learning context. Some important elements of these guidelines include institutional autonomy and accountability, which encourages institutions to take responsibility of the quality of their e-learning while still aligning with external quality standards. It contemplates as well student support, highlighting the importance of providing adequate support services for students engaged in online learning, which is essential for their success, and also contemplates continuous improvement, emphasizing this need for regular evaluation and ensuring and updates to e-learning courses to ensure they remain relevant and effective. So INCAGE provides a solid foundation that quality assurance agencies can adapt to evaluate the unique aspects of e-learning programs. And finally, we would also like to share other general models. So now let's dive into a couple more general models that play a significant role in quality assurance in higher education, particularly in distance and online education. First of all, we have the Council of Higher Education Accreditation, which is in the United States, and it's dedicated to promoting quality assurance standards for higher education, which includes distance and online education. And what's really important here is that CHEA collaborates with accreditation bodies to ensure that online programs meet the same quality standards as traditional face-to-face programs, which is really relevant. And this means that no matter how you are learning or no matter how the student is learning, whether it's in a classroom or online, you can expect a high standard of education. And now we can turn into the OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. And this organization has also addressed e-learning in its reports and guidelines. So it's true that while the OECD doesn't have a specific framework just for digital learning, as we have been saying in these examples, its general guidelines on quality in higher education have greatly impacted how universities create and assess their online programs. So this means that the OECD's advice help institutions carefully consider their online offerings and work towards constant improvements. So as you can see, both CHEA and the OECD play crucial roles in ensuring that quality standards are maintained across different models of education, reinforcing this idea that I was talking about, that quality should be a consistent priority regardless of how or where learning takes place, even it's face-to-face or online. And now I would like to place the word to Nati to continue with the presentation.
Sorry. Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Maite, for your explanation that fits very well with the next that we are talking about. Because plus to these international frameworks that Maite has explained, there are the international organizations that are behind them and the networks for quality assurance, the international networks for quality assurance. And this is an useful element when trying to create and share quality, a shared quality landscape. So now we'll discuss the role of this international organization as organizations and the landscape they facilitate. These entities have become vital in setting global standards and promoting collaboration among higher education institutions, among universities, but not only, also among agencies and commissions, quality commissions all over the world, to enhance what? The credibility, competitiveness, and relevance of educational programs worldwide. Not only programs, but university services and research and whatever. All the things that universities do and share with society. What are international organizations? What are them and these networks? They are collaborative entities that focus on promoting, maintaining, and improving quality standards across educational institutions globally. Through these partnerships, universities can elevate their quality and ensure that their programs meet global benchmark. By aligning with these organizations, institutions make their programs and services and research more attractive and trustworthy to students, partners, and stakeholders in general across the world, not only in the specific region, but in a more wide territory. These organizations add immense value by fostering global collaboration, consistency, and innovation. They offer universities a platform for sharing best practices and improving quality assessment methodologies, what is very important, helping them to refine their educational offerings and reach levels of excellence. Additionally, being part of these networks or organizations provides institutions with recognition and credibility, which can attract more students, create opportunities for partnerships, and potentially lead to additional funding. The basic functions of these international organizations are the following. First, setting and harmonizing standards. One of their primary roles is to establish consistent quality benchmark that higher education institutions can adapt to maintain a recognizable level of quality across borders. This helps ensure that students and employers, among others, can trust the quality of education from different institutions worldwide. Quality assurance and accreditations would be another main function of these organizations. Many international organizations provide quality assurance and accreditation services, evaluating and certifying institutions, programs, research, and other educational services. I'm sorry, I think that you are not passing the slides. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. So, as I was saying, many international organizations provide quality assurance and accreditation services, evaluating and certifying institutions, programs, research, and other educational services. Accreditation by a respected international organization can serve as a mark of quality that's recognized globally. Research and knowledge sharing. These organizations conduct research, share findings, and develop tools to support quality enhancement. By offering institutions access to the latest data and innovative practices, They enable institutions to stay updated and continuously improve their standards. Capacity building is another critical function. Through training, workshops, and professional development, international organizations can help universities, faculty, and administrators strengthen their internal quality assurance practices. That is a very crucial point to be done. Policy advocacy. Many of these organizations also advocate for policies that promote quality, equity, and accessibility in education on a global scale. Their efforts can influence national and international policies, and this is also a very important issue, ultimately fostering environments that support high-quality education. Facilitating international collaboration. Lastly, they create networking opportunities among higher education institutions, encouraging partnerships, joint research projects, and academic exchanges. This collaboration enhances learning environments and allows institutions to share resources, ideas, and best practices. In conclusion, international organizations and networks are essential allies in the pursuit of quality in higher education. Their efforts to harmonize standards, provide quality assurance, and foster collaboration make them invaluable to institutions striving to be competitive, credible, and global relevant. By supporting universities with research, capacity building, and advocacy, they help shape a higher education landscape that's adaptable, innovative, and dedicated to continuous improvement. Let's see some specific examples of some international organizations. Some of them, Maite has already explained the international framework they have built up, but I would like to highlight some characteristics. The first would be the European Association for Quality Assurance in Higher Education that Maite have already mentioned, known as ENQA. And it is a key player in the quality assurance landscape in Europe. Its main mission is to promote European cooperation in quality assurance and to develop standards that enhance the quality of higher education across the continent. It supports member agencies, and this is crucial too for the states in Europe. And it supports them with resources and peer review mechanisms, etc. But ENQA also influences educational policies across Europe. And this is a very, very important issue, advocating for quality assurance practices that ensure consistent academic excellence. And this facilitates everything among the different states in the European continent. The next one would be the African and Malagasy Council of Higher Education, or CAMES, focuses on promoting and harmonizing quality standards across higher education institutions in Africa, especially within Francophone countries. CAMES plays a crucial role ensuring consistent academic standards and credential recognition across member nations, which enhance regional mobility and credibility of African degrees. By setting accreditation benchmark and organizing capacity building programs, CAMES helps strengthen educational quality across a diverse landscape of universities. The next would be the Ibero-American Network for Quality Assurance in Higher Education. We call it RIACES, R-I-E-C-E-S. It connects quality assurance agencies from Latin America, Spain, and Portugal. It aims to foster collaboration and share best practices among member countries, which enhance the quality and comparability of higher education across the Ibero-American region. The next one would be the East African Higher Education Quality Assurance Network, or EAQAN. It is dedicated also to promoting and supporting quality assurance practices, but in East Africa. It offers a platform for higher education institutions to collaborate on quality standards, share good practices, and strengthen internal assessment methodologies. Through also training, knowledge sharing, and peer support, it helps institutions improve their educational offerings, making them more competitive and reliable in a global context. Finally, the International Network for Quality Assurance Agencies in Higher Education that Maite also mentioned before is a global network, and I would like to highlight this word, global network, that it means it's not for a specific region, but for an international landscape. So it connects quality assurance agencies worldwide, and it helps enhance the credibility and recognition of higher education institutions globally by facilitating quality assurance frameworks that are both adaptable and robust. Its global influence and support help institutions worldwide meet international expectations and promote cross-border educational collaboration. All these organizations play significant roles in enhancing the quality and the credibility of higher education in their respective regions or globally, as this last one, making them invaluable partners in the pursuit of academic excellence. So if you want to find out what the situation of higher education is in your country, I especially recommend I highly recommend this UNESCO resource, especially concerning on quality issues. Here you will not only be able to understand the higher education policy and system characteristics of your country, but you will also be able to make comparisons between countries, which is sometimes very informative. Okay, let's move to identifying challenges and opportunities of quality assurance in the context of digital transformation in higher education. As we know, digital technologies are reshaping our traditional views on quality across teaching, research, and administration. While these digital shifts presents remarkable opportunities to enhance access and personalized learning, it also brings critical challenges related to equity, technological literacy, and the responsible use of data. All my colleagues before have mentioned all these issues. In particular, I will focus on two key areas that represent both challenges and opportunities: dataification and the social dimension of higher education. If we move on, one of the most powerful aspects of digital transformation is dataification, or the ability to collect and analyze large amounts of institutional data and do something good with this. This presents both an opportunity and a challenge for quality assurance in higher education. Through datification, institutions can gather insights into student performance, engagement, and overall institutional effectiveness. Learning analytics and also academic analytics allow us to track how well students are progressing in their studies, identify at-risk students, and tailor interventions to improve outcomes. This can help institutions uphold quality by adapting programs to better meet students' needs. By analyzing data, institutions can also assess the effectiveness of their teaching methods, ensuring that quality standards are being met. However, the effectiveness of datification relies heavily on how well institutions can interpret and act on this data. While data analysis tools provide valuable insights, they are only as useful as the institution's ability to turn those insights into concrete improvements. This requires both data literacy and access to advanced data analysis tools. Without these skills, institutions may struggle to leverage data for enhancing quality, and the data itself may become overwhelming rather than useful. Furthermore, datification raises questions about data privacy and ethics. Institutions must ensure that data is collected and used responsibly, respecting everybody's privacy and adhering to ethical guidelines. The challenge here is to balance the potential and benefits of data-driven insights with the need to protect individual rights and maintain trust. The challenge and opportunity, too, would be the social dimension of higher education. This involves making higher education more inclusive, accessible, and reflective of society's diversity. Addressing the social dimension is also both an opportunity and a challenge for quality assurance processes. Quality assurance in higher education should ensure that programs and services in general are responsive to the diverse needs of society, incorporating a diversity, equity, and inclusion. The DEA approaches strengthens this social dimension by creating a learning environment with all students, regardless of their background, have equal opportunities to succeed. Digital tools can play a significant role here by broadening access to education for underserved populations. Online programs, for example, allow students from remote disadvantaged areas to access high-quality education and benefit from flexible learning schedules. My colleagues that precede me have talked about this DEA approach. Additionally, digital solutions can improve transparency and feedback mechanisms, making it easier for institutions to adapt to social changes and needs. By using digital platforms to gather feedback, institutions can assess whether their programs meet diverse students' needs and identify any barriers to inclusion. Challenges with the social dimension are the other hand of this explanation. Maintaining a strong social dimension in digital age is challenging. Institutions must proactively work to ensure that digital initiatives don't unintentionally exclude certain groups. This involves addressing potential barriers such as limited digital literacy, lack of access to technology, and financial constraints that may affect underserved students disproportionately. Institutions need to integrate the DEA initiatives into their digital transformation strategies, actively removing these barriers and promoting inclusivity. Quality assurance can help by establishing benchmarks for inclusivity and monitoring how well programs are serving diverse student populations. Yet, without a clear, sustained focus on the social dimension, there is a risk that digital transformation could further estrange inequalities instead of alleviating them. Okay, let's move to the last part of the presentation, that are conclusions. First of all, remember that quality is in higher education, is a complex, multifaceted, relative, subjective concept that may include not only excellence and consistency, but also fitness for purpose, value for money, and transformation. Recognizing these dimensions allows us to move beyond traditional metrics and focus on a more holistic view of what quality truly means. Aligning with international quality assurance frameworks is a vital step in this process. It helps institutions enhance global recognitions, ensure consistent standards, and facilitate the mobility of both students and also faculty. Additionally, continuous improvement is essential. By adopting strategies that integrate digital transformation, we not only improve educational outcomes, but also strengthen institutional reputation and foster resilience in a rapidly evolving landscape. Data analytics is a powerful tool and a strategy that supports this vision by enabling us to monitoring and refine educational outcomes continuously. Through both learning and academic analytics, we ensure our quality assurance processes are evidence-based, adaptive and responsive to the needs of our students. Moreover, inclusivity and equity are fundamental pillars of quality in education. By embedding DEA, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and leveraging digital tools, we can broaden access, support diverse student needs, and create a more supportive, inclusive environment for everyone. As we continue on this digital transformation journey, it's essential to see assurance not just as means of standardization that it is, but as a way to ensure that digital transformation is also inclusive, ethical, and responsive to the diverse needs of all students and society. Embracing both the opportunities and challenges of digital transformation enables us to build a higher education system that is accessible, equitable, and of the highest quality for everyone. So, thank you very much for your attention. And now I think it's time for questions and comments. Maite and I will try to answer them during the next half an hour, more or less. So let's see what are your insights and your question, and let's try to answer what we can.
Thank you very much, Nati, again for your presentation. Well, there were many questions and insights, and as Nati was saying, we will try to fill all of them. First of all, there was one comment that was saying that the teaching evaluation should not rely only on students, that the teaching should be analyzed from multiple perspectives. And yes, of course, you are absolutely right. Teaching evaluation should indeed consider various perspectives to get a well-rounded understanding of its effectiveness. No, so it's true that student satisfaction is important, and it's and it's relevant to assess that, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. So we have to look at other outcomes of student achievement, for example. No, this could involve assessing whether students are meeting the learning objectives of the course, or are they gaining knowledge or the skills of the course. And this could be done by examining their performance on assessments and their ability to apply what they have learned as well. So with that, you could have like a clear picture of teaching effectiveness. But as well, in addition, academic quality should be also assessed. No, this means evaluating the curriculum, the teaching methods used, and the resources, as we were talking about, that are provided. So we could ask ourselves, are the courses aligned with academic standards and best practices? And this could be also remarkable. And lastly, I think it's important that the viewpoints of various stakeholders, which is something that we have been talking about during all the presentation, no? Such as faculty members, administrators, and even employers. These stakeholders are essential as well, because faculty can provide insights into curriculum development and teaching methods that I was talking about, while administrators can highlight the institutional goals and the supportive structures, and employers as well can share their expectations on how well graduates are prepared for their workplaces or work forces. So by combining this feedback from students, from evaluating learning outcomes, assessing academic quality, consider the perspective of these stakeholders, we can really create a more comprehensive and accurate pictures of the teaching effectiveness that one of you was talking about. Then another question that we have had is how can digital education models be adapted to maintain high standards of quality assurance diverse across all the systems in the Mediterranean region? And it was a really interesting question, no? And I think we have to take into account some key strategies that we can apply on that. First of all, we have to think about contextualization, the contextualization of the models. No, educational institutions should adapt existing digital education frameworks to fit the specific context of their region. And this means recognizing the unique challenges and strengths of each country or region within the Mediterranean. No? For instance, a model that works well in technologically advanced country might need adjustments to be effective in areas with limited resources, for example. Another thing that we can take into account is the flexibility and scalability. No? Education models should be flexible enough to accommodate different levels of technology infrastructure, as I was saying, and this can involve offering a different range of options for course delivery, such as blended learning, where some components are delivered online while others are delivered face-to-face, and it can offer scalable solutions such as modular courses, can also help cater to various institutional capacities. Another thing that my colleague Nati Cabrera was talking about, it was the capacity building. No, it's true that it's really important and it's a key element to invest in training the educators. No, it's crucial, this professional development. No, this ensures that faculty members are equipped to use digital tools effectively and can create engaging, high quality online learning experience. No, and these collaborative training programs across institutions could be like a good example to foster shared best practices and innovation between different institutions in the Mediterranean. Another thing is the one that we were talking about today, which is the quality assurance framework. So it's important that we establish this quality assurance framework that are tailored to the digital context is essential. And this framework have to include these standards for online teaching, assessment methods, student support services, etc. Another thing is the one that I was talking about, like collaborative partnerships. No, this collaboration between institutions within the Mediterranean could enhance the sharing of resources, expertise, best practices, etc. Another thing that I would like to talk about, and it's something that we didn't mention today, it's the open educational resources, the OER. No, the use of them could help mitigate these resources disparities by providing free or low-cost educational materials or resources that can be adapted in your local context. And this can enhance the quality of education while reducing costs both for institutions and for students. Another thing is incorporating feedback mechanisms. So this continuous feedback from students, educators, stakeholders, it's like vital for engaging and improving and adapting digital education models. And another thing that we have to take into account is the focus on inclusivity. No, it's this ensuring that digital education is accessible to all students, all kinds of students, including these with disabilities or those from disadvantaged backgrounds. No, it's crucial for maintaining high quality. Institutions should implement inclusive practices in course designs and delivery to meet these diverse learner needs. Another question that it was mentioned during the section, it was how to improve the quality of teaching with the continued growth of students' numbers and the increase in the workload of teachers, which is really interesting because it's something that it happens a lot here as well in the UOC university. No? So improving the quality of teachers amid this growing number of students requires a multifaceted approach that balance these conflicting objectives, no? And some strategies could be the technology, no? Like implementing technology can help this streamline administrative task and enhance teaching effectiveness. We can talk about, for example, the learning management systems, LMS, that can automate grading, manage course materials, facilitate communication. No, so we can think about technology that allows students to focus more on instruction and on student engagement. No, so teachers can think about what really matters. Another thing that it's important is to adopt these blended learning models, no, which combines online and face-to-face instructions, which can help manage these larger class sizes. And this model could allow teachers to deliver content digitally while using in-person time for discussions, for activities, for personalized support, and you could, with that, improve the learning experience. Another thing could be these collaborative teaching models, no, that the literature talk about, which encourage collaborative teaching where two or more educators share the same responsibility in a classroom. So with this, you can reduce individual workload while maintaining the teaching quality. So this co-teaching allows for divisions of labor, enable more personalized attention for students. Another thing could be like implemented data decision making, which is something that Nati was talking about in a macro level perspective, but in the classroom as well. You could use data analytics to track students' performance, and this could help teachers identify this area where students struggle more and tailor their instruction accordingly. No, this approach allowed more effective use of the classroom time and the resources. And I think as well, we always have to talk about feedback and assessment. No, I think it's important to think of the assessment as a learning strategy, no, and implement like a frequent formative assessment, which could help identify students' needs early on, allowing them for timely interventions. No, and this proactive approach can enhance learning outcomes and reduce the workload associated with end-of-term evaluations. So I think by integrating this kind of strategies, educational institutions could improve the quality of teaching despite these challenges that you were talking about, which is the growing student numbers and the increased teacher workloads. And another question, and then I will set the word to my colleague Nati Cabrera. You ask if it's really possible to reach a micro and macro high levels perspective when the meso level is deficient, which I think is a really interesting question, no? And absolutely, it's essential to understand that levels of education, micro, meso, and macro, are interconnected, no? And it's important to think about that. If the meso level is lacking, like you were saying, it can hand in efforts at the micro and macro levels. So it really matters. For example, if a university doesn't have the right resources or support systems in place, which could be the meso level, teachers, it's true that may struggle to provide a high quality classroom experience, which is the micro level. And this can affect how the education system is perceived and operates as a whole, which is the macro level. So yes, of course, they are all interconnected, no? And this is like really important to know. I don't know if Nati Cabrera would like to add something about that.
Thank you, Maite. Well, I think we must go on because there are many questions arising. So thank you very much for your interest and your participation in this seminar and this specifically in this part of questions and answers. I'll try to answer some of them, and then Maite, if you want to go on, because they are arising, and we have many of them. I try to organize a little bit some of them. One is about what is the best practice in terms of frequency for measuring and certifying quality standards. Okay, this is a difficult question to answer because it depends, but the idea is not that to be required to measure each year or each 2 years, or to accreditate each 3 years, but to have an internal quality system that guarantees that you are always in charge of quality. So systems may be different from one institution to another, but this idea of continuous assessment of the quality of our services, our programs, is always on, is always a work in progress always. At the UST, we have a system where each program is evaluated by the director of the program and the teachers team each year through an internal report that analyzes all the data that we have in terms of student satisfaction, outcomes, and more other data than we have, learning analytics and also academic analytics. And this is very practical because all the people involved in the program are every year called to analyze how things are going, if the decisions we make last year were good decisions and we have improved the things we need to improve or not, or what is happening with the program. In terms of internal quality, I think each university can do what it wants. It's up to us to do it or not. Each year, it's 2 years or whatever. In terms of certification is another issue. Then you should see what is happening in your country. Is you have a quality agency or you have a region framework for accreditation on, and what is more interesting for you or compulsory for you to do. Another question is related to customers, and the question is which customer must we satisfy in terms of quality? Supervisory ministry, students, job market, etc. Knowing that needs are not always convergent and constant. Well, in terms of quality, educational institutions must strive to satisfy multiple stakeholders. It's the reason why quality is so difficult, because there are a lot of perspectives, there are a lot of needs and a lot of conceptions of what they want in terms of quality. Each with distinct and sometimes divergent needs, it's true. So students are the primary beneficiaries and they expect a high quality education that is engaging, accessible, adaptable to their expectations, but perhaps they are also interested in certification, in opportunities for job insertion and so on. So ensuring student satisfaction should guarantee to provide them relevant content, skill building and support service, because it could be critical to maintain institutional reputation and retention rates. But they are not the only customers we have. We also have stakeholders that are employees. The job market is so important and need to be connected, but not at the end, at the very beginning. When you design a new offer, a new program, a new course, we should assure that it fits with job market needs and perspectives too, not only, but too. So this would be another customer we will try to satisfy. And ministries and regulatory bodies are our work. So we should know them, and because they are responsible for providing clear standards and assessments through the equality national agencies, we must follow these regulations and perhaps another regulations broader than in our state, in our region, could be also followed. Another question has to be with quality services. Yes, in some universities, the quality services are focused only on administrative aspects. Look at the quality aspects linked to teaching. How can they be effective, particularly with the development of online teaching? Well, yes, sure. I'm sure that this is happening, and not only in your university. But this is one issue that will be addressed in detail in the next sessions in December. So I invite you, I suggest you to attend these sessions where you will discover or learn more about how to assure the quality of these services, moreover than focuses on administrative aspects. Another question has to be with agencies in Africa. Is there any agency or quality accreditation organization, I guess, in Africa? Well, yes, they are. Africa has several agencies focusing on quality assurance and accreditation in higher education, both at regional and also at national levels. We already mentioned some of them in our presentations, like the African and Malagasy Council for Higher Education and the one for East African universities. There are more, like Association for the Development of Education in Africa and Network for Quality Assurance in Africa, Inter-University Council in Africa, and etc. What I happily recommend you is to review the UNESCO resource I will share with you in our presentation, that I think it can really help you to be situated in your country and to compare with other countries in your region or in another region that when you want to compare the situations from one to another. It is very useful, and I think that it can help you to have more specific information. Another question has to be, I'm going to read it. Do you think that evaluating the quality of distance learning is more effective than face-to-face? I don't know if it's more effective or easier, or what do you mean, but well, we'll go on. And evaluation of the question by more and more global frameworks are integrating distance learning and online learning within their regulatory learning frameworks for traditional learning, so not as separate entities. This means that the trend is to consider the quality of education, of higher education as a whole, without differentiating between face-to-face and distance learning, but considering the specifications of both formats or ways of distribute the learning, of deliver learning. Evaluating the quality of distance and online learning can be more complex, it's true, due to factors like connectivity issues, potential validity and fairness, and the influence of AI tools that perhaps makes this issue more challenging. But I think that face-to-face university have also these challenges. Distance learning quality can still be effectively assessed with robust digital assessment tools, proctoring software that offers tools to identify students, authoring, and so on. With an engagement. For evaluating teaching, that is one of the issues of this question. For evaluating teaching quality by students, digital tools such as online service, real-time feedback platforms, and analytics on students' interaction are widely used, and they report to us quantitative data, very useful quantitative data. But another qualitative methods are also being used by universities and also by quality agencies in different regions, because they bring us more information about the reasons why things are happening. We can know what the students think about one element or another, if they're satisfied or not, and the amount of satisfaction in each element of the dimensions of the standards with quantitative data. But we cannot know why they are more satisfied or less satisfied, and the reasons why these things happen. So qualitative approach, qualitative data is also welcome to go more in deep in these issues. Well, I think I'm going to give the floor to Maite if she has prepared more answers. Thank you, Maite.
I would like to tell everybody that the session for final remarks has been moved up, and it will take place immediately, and there will be no 15 minutes break, okay? It will be like after that. Thank you very much. And then following up with the questions, there was another question that it was about this holistic approach, which is necessary. And it said like quality, inclusion, and equity are multidimensional, and can we do better with political, social, and cultural differences, especially in universities, because we have a large community of students? And I think this is a great question. I mean, addressing quality, inclusion, and equity in our universities is indeed a complex challenge here in WOC as well, especially given the diverse backgrounds of our students community, no? And how can we tackle it? First of all, adapting policies. We need to tailor our policies to meet these unique needs of our students. And this means being more flexible and responsive to different cultural, social, and political contexts. We should listen to students' feedback and involve them in the decision-making process. Another thing is these accessible support services, which we have in here in WOC. It's crucial to provide support services that are accessible to everyone. This includes offering mental health resources, academic counseling, and tutoring. So we need to ensure that all students know about these services and they feel comfortable using them. Another thing is these diverse teaching models, as we mentioned yesterday by our colleagues Lourdes and Marcelo. We can use diverse teaching models that recognize different roles and learning styles, no? And this means creating a classroom environment where all students feel valued and included, and allowing them to express themselves and participate fully. Another thing is this thing related to the community engagement. So we should promote that. We should encourage students to engage with each other and with the wider community. And this could also foster inclusion. This can be done through collaborative projects, through student organization, also through cultural events that celebrate diversity. Another thing should be like this continuous training of our staff, of our faculty members. So it's important finally to provide this ongoing training for our faculty, for our staff. So they need the skills to understand and address these diverse needs of our students and our population, which they need that. And by taking this holistic approach, we can create a university environment that truly values this quality, inclusion, and equity that you were talking about, ensuring that all students have the opportunity to thrive. And I think it's really important. So thank you very much for raising this important topic. I don't know, Nati, if you have something more to tell.
Well, there is another question about the teacher's workload. Mm-hmm. And the question is about how do we do this at the UOC? How do we determine the teaching load? Well, I would say, first of all, that it's always an issue and a challenge to calculate the workload of teachers in online education, but also the workload for students, because there are differences between us, between people, and it's not a question of a formulation of this and this and this and that is. So we can talk about different things that you can have in mind when calculating this teaching load and considering an online framework, and considering what our colleagues Marcelo and Lourdes said yesterday about what teaching means in an online environment. Unlike traditional in-person teaching, online instruction often involves more detailed individual feedback, continuous interaction in virtual classrooms, the need of have everything already designed, the course, the activities, the assessment, all the resources, and an ongoing engagement in digital learning environments that requires a lot of dedication for students. Teaching load at the UC is therefore typically adjusted to the balance to these factors, ensuring that faculty can provide high quality personalized support to students, but that they can also do this previous work that is very heavy and it's very important. All the design, all the planification before starting the course, then the course, and all this guiding, all this personalized support to students, and then all the assessment during the process, at the end of the process, and so on. So additionally to this, it must be considered the course type. There are big differences between a course of mathematics and a course of ethics or a course of whatever. The number of credits of each course, the student enrollment numbers, and also the specific pedagogical model used in each program. I would say that these are the main factors that have been considered when trying to calculate the teaching load. And well, I don't know if there are more questions to be answered, but I think that we are arriving at the end of this session. So I don't know, Maite, if you have to add something more. If not,
yes, I'm afraid we are at the end of the session. We have lack of time. As we have said, now we will follow with the remarks with our colleagues Lourdes Guardia and Marcelo Maina.
Yeah, very important. The final remarks will be providing just now for our colleagues, Maite and Lourdes and Marcelo. And remember that there will be 4 more seminars in December, where you can go in deep with these questions of quality, more in a micro perspective that Maite mentioned before. So some of the questions that we cannot answer now will be answered in those seminars, I guess. So I invite you to attend to these seminars. And now I'll give the floor to our colleagues, Lourdes Guardia and Marcelo Maina, who will give you the final remarks of all the sessions that have been in these 2 days. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for the participation. Thank you, Maite, also for
thank
the
you very
contribution.
Much.
And I hope to see you in December.
See you.